Let's go ahead and get started with news for the day. Our top story. One man is in critical condition after being shot in the chest at a Lockwood house party. Deputies with the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office were called to a home on Old Hardin Road around 8 o'clock Sunday night. They said a male brandished a firearm, and in the process, one round went off, striking another male in the chest. That victim was taken to St. Vincent Healthcare and was able to give deputies a statement before going into surgery. Sergeant Robert Lester says everyone at the house party was in their late teens and early 20s, and drugs were involved. At this time, no arrests have been made, but we are told the suspect is cooperating. On Sunday night, deputies were working on getting a search warrant to access the house. Those involved could all face charges. And in case you missed it, in Billings over the weekend, a 24-year-old man is dead after he was shot by Billings police officers following a chase in which he rammed several vehicles, including patrol cars. It all started late Friday night into Saturday when police were called to a home for a disturbance. There, witnesses said the suspect rammed a pickup truck into the callers twice before leaving the area. When officers located the suspect, he refused to pull over, which led to a 30-minute pursuit. He was then spotted on Bunting Street in South Billings. Slumped over the wheel, passed out, the suspect eventually came to and attempted to flee again. In the process, he struck several patrol cars, forcing officers to jump out of the way. 5 officers, 2 armed with patrol rifles and 3 armed with handguns, fired at the vehicle, striking the suspect multiple times. The suspect was later pronounced dead. We're told he was a 24-year-old Native American male with addresses in Billings and Hardin. His name has not been released. No officers were injured, and the ones who were involved have been placed on administrative leave. Detectives are trying to determine the number of shots that were fired and if the suspect was armed with a weapon. Not long after that, in a separate incident, a man was shot in the abdomen at Bones Brewery on Broadwater Avenue shortly after 1 a.m. Saturday. It all started when the victim and another man were involved in a disturbance at the bar. After the suspect shot the victim with a handgun, he fled the scene on foot. Police said the victim is in stable condition. They were not able to locate the suspect, who is described as a tall African-American male with an average build. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Billings Police Department. Checking in on the day's top national headlines, Charles Manson, one of the nation's most notorious serial killers, has died. In the summer of '69, Manson was convicted of using his cult to turn followers into killers, ordering the murders of at least 7 people. One of them was actress Sharon Tate. Manson, who had been imprisoned for nearly 50 years, died of natural causes. He was 83 years old. And the FBI is investigating the death of a Border Patrol agent in southern Texas. Agent Rogelio Martinez was patrolling near the city of Van Horn with a partner on Saturday night. Officials said one of them radioed in that they needed assistance. When help arrived, Martinez and his partner were found with serious injuries. Martinez, who was just 36, died at the hospital, and the second agent is in serious condition. Details of their injuries have not been released. In response, President Donald Trump tweeted in part, quote, "We will seek out and bring to justice those responsible. We will and must build the wall." Closer to home, an Ashland man is dead after crashing his vehicle early Saturday morning. Montana Highway Patrol reported the 41-year-old driver lost control of the vehicle on a curve near Busby, and the GMC Sierra he was driving rolled. The man was ejected and pronounced dead on scene. Alcohol is a suspected factor in the crash. No one else was involved. This crash marks the 167th death on Montana roadways this year. In some lighter news here in Billings, the Knights of Columbus Christmas tree lot is about much more than selling trees. It's all about community service. Traditionally, the trees arrived the weekend before Thanksgiving. The trucks arrived from Sandpoint, Idaho over the weekend, delivering 1,100 trees to the parking lot of St. Pius and another 450 to St. Bernard's in the Heights. The tree sale goes back at least 45 years, and the money raised goes to helping the Knights of Columbus make donations to 15 charities. Wrapping our news up for this morning, fire has always been a part of life in the Yellowstone in the Yellowstone National Park ecosystem. Knowing when a fire starts in the park is critical to making sure structures and people are not in any danger from raging forest fires. While technology helps identify lightning strikes, there's still one man whose job is to find fires in Yellowstone. Ed Stark walks to work once each spring, 3 miles and 1,500 feet of elevation to the Mount Washburn Fire Lookout. He spends the summer literally looking over Yellowstone National Park, and then he walks back to the real world in the fall, just like others before him for the past 78 years.
The first lookout that was built in 1921 was manned on a daily basis. The naturalist ranger would come up from Canyon. He'd come up for the day, spend the day up there. There were no living quarters or anything else. So when they built this building, in the current building in 1939, that provided living quarters for the lookout. And then it's been that way ever since.
Stark has been the man on the mountain for the past 12 years, and he is the only resident fire lookout in Yellowstone. He brings much of his food with him when he arrives in the spring, but does get fresh water and food by contacting the fire department, and then someone walks the 3 miles to bring it to him.